AI may feel like new tech, but it's actually built on decades old software. The only real difference is that the industry finally has the data and the hardware to make it work. I'm Josh, software exec with almost 2 decades of experience designing, building, and running software companies. And on this channel, we go inside the secrets of the software industry. So, AI, it's everywhere now, right? It's in your search results, your photos, your music, even your email replies. But here's the secret: AI is actually one of the oldest ideas in computer science. We've just wrapped it in shiny new models and put together some puzzle pieces in ways we never thought to combine them before. And finally, we have enough computing power to actually make it work. So I've spent around 2 decades in the software industry, from developer to VP, and I've watched AI go from just a research kind of buzzword to a $1 billion marketing term. But what really changed in that amount of time, and why does the industry have some seriously mixed feelings about it? So let's start with the basics: AI versus machine learning, and why they are not the same thing. So AI, or artificial intelligence, that is, broadly speaking, that is the goal, right? Make computers smart. Machine learning, on the other hand, or ML, that's the how, right? Using data to teach machines patterns instead of just hard coding them with logic. You could look at it as AI is the meal that you want, it's the lasagna, and machine learning, that's the recipe. It's the ingredients and the cook time and the order of the materials, and then the trial and error that takes until you get to the perfect lasagna. But the funny thing is, and what most insiders laugh about, is that the core math behind machine learning, things like linear regression, that's been around since actually before the internet. So what is linear regression? Right, that's the math that I just mentioned, and it's the fancy name for effectively just drawing a straight line through data points to find a pattern. Right? Imagine plotting how much you sleep every night versus how tired you feel. And then you just draw a line along those dots. That's regression. Now, if you replace sleep and tired with something like, I don't know, number of ads shown and likelihood to click, then boom, you're doing machine learning effectively, right? This stuff has powered spam filters and stock trading algorithms and even recommendation systems way before ChatGPT came along, right? Big companies, things like Google, Amazon, Microsoft, they've been using machine learning for decades. They just didn't call it AI at the time. They called it search ranking or optimization or personalization. So really then, what has changed? Why does AI suddenly feel alive now as opposed to before? And the short answer, and the very obvious one, is NLP. That's natural language processing. And it's the field that teaches computers to understand and generate human language. So old machine learning, it was really great at things like numbers and structured data and categories. But NLP, that's what adds the human meaning to it. It lets the software make sense of words and sentences and even the tone. It's effectively sentence diagramming for a computer. And it's crazy because NLP, that natural language processing, that's not new either. That's been around since the 60s. What changed is that we finally built models big enough with, billions of parameters and train them across the entire internet. It's the computing power and the way we combine these things that we never did before. Right? So when you're talking to ChatGPT or something like that, you're not chatting with a new brain, a new intelligence. What you're chatting with is a really, really old idea and really, really old math that's just running on unimaginably large amounts of hardware with NLP layered on top. So if it's all old tech, then why now, right? What's going on now? Mainly, it's because we crossed a specific threshold, or actually several thresholds. The first thing, the big thing, is computing power. So computing power has been growing exponentially, but we've also been investing exponentially more resources in server farms and building more and more computer systems distributed across the globe. The crypto craze actually did a lot to push this forward. See, for several years, there were individuals and companies that started heavily investing into servers specifically to farm cryptocurrencies and support the blockchain, things that you've heard of probably as Bitcoin mining, right? And at a certain point, they realized that either they weren't seeing the return or they'd gotten their return and it was time to pivot to something new. And all that computing power was ripe for use with AI. And with that boom in computing power, we were able to take machine learning from solving just math problems to kind of that simulation of understanding, right? It's not that AI really learned to think, but it got really good at what people perceive as the patterns based around thinking. So, from inside the industry, specifically the software side, not Wall Street or pharma, but inside tech, it's still pretty controversial what you can and can't use AI for and what it really works for and the future of it. Because, right, everyone knows that it's still just math, it's not magic, right? It's still pattern recognition. It's really good pattern recognition, but it's still just patterns. And patterns are seriously constrained, mainly the inability to articulate new concepts and new thoughts, right? So even the best models today are mostly just autocomplete engines with, kind of a personality layered on top. But that being said, they're still very powerful autocomplete engines. And when you layer them with tools, right, context, and that human guidance, that's where things start to get really interesting. So is AI taking over? No, not yet. Is it getting better? Yes. But are we able to keep pushing the limits of computing power and building server farms fast enough to keep up with the growth? That we'll have to see. So if you found that helpful, please like the video. Tell me your thoughts about AI and machine learning in the comments, and if you'd like to see more videos on software and the tech industry, follow along with the channel. There'll be more coming soon.